Anyways, y'all, what's good? So my most ideal way of creating is very minimalistic, and that's why I love standalone gear. I like to feel like I'm doing the most with the least. You know, it's a bit of an obsession of mine, and I'm not super interested in doing the hybrid thing where it's like hardware and software. But the closest thing to that for me that's really intriguing is Koala sampler with a good MIDI controller. I got something that's brand new here, a brand new MIDI controller, and another piece that makes this like kind of the dopest minimalistic Koala sampler setup that's also very portable. So this right here is the brand new TempoPAD C16 by Synido. Synido is a cool brand that I've been in communication with for some time now. I don't know how long exactly, but I've been working with them with a few products. But one thing to note is that I don't receive products that I'm not interested in, that don't fit into what it is that I do. I don't have any passion for creating review videos for things that I'm not interested in or things that don't look good to me. So, but this looks really great. This is a wireless Bluetooth MIDI pad controller with a lot of different features, as you can see, a lot of different controls that you can program. So I am going to get into how I've programmed some of these knobs and sliders and buttons in Koala Sampler. But to note, one other thing that I have by Synido is the live dock audio adapter. So this is how I'm getting audio into Koala. You're actually hearing my microphone going into Koala. And then this is how I would sample other things in there if I wanted to. So the Synido live dock just makes this the ultimate, kind of portable setup. So I got a wireless Bluetooth controller. I have the very compact audio interface, and I could pack that all into a case, which is another cool thing about Synido is they seem to always include a case, a protective case to travel with. And quickly, just to cover a little bit about the hardware. Like I said, it is wireless, it's Bluetooth. As far as connections, you got MIDI in, out, and through on the back. And you got the power switch right here. And it also has a lithium battery inside, so you don't need to, use AA's, AAA's, or whatever that are gonna burn out pretty quick. So that's a cool thing. Also, just a note, if you want to run this with Koala, you need to download a free app called MIDI BLE Connect. So this is the app on Android. If you just open that up, the way you get this going is if you just press this Bluetooth button, start Bluetooth scan, then go ahead and select the device, Synido TempoPAD C16, keep that open, and then just go over to Koala. All right, so to get into the fun part, a dope thing about Koala, it's super easy to program your MIDI controller, do MIDI learn stuff. And with the Synido TempoPAD C16, you have pad bank, right? Go through different pads, but then you have a control bank button, which allows you to program these knobs and buttons up to 4 different times. So you got like 8 knobs times 4, which would be what, like 32. Then you have up to 816 sliders, and then you have 12 buttons down here that you can also program times 4. So if you think about it that way, you have quite a bit of control with this specific MIDI controller. So that's super dope. So what I've done so far is I've programmed control bank A and control bank B. I've done it in sections, just like, kind of like Koala is set up. So we have the sample section, the sequence section, and then the perform section. So far I've done a control bank for the sample section, and then I've done a control bank for the sequence section. So I'm just going to get into that, and then I think I'll get into perform and actually do some more MIDI mapping for some other things there. All right, so I'm just going to pull up the edit screen so I can show you the way I've got this mapped quite a bit. Up here we got knobs, and I've set this up right here in this corner to select either one shot or not. So I could set this sample up to be like a note on thing. You know what I mean? For the second knob, I went ahead and did the reverse. So I got control of reversing samples if I want. Then over here, we control the loop. You know, and if it goes around, it's going to start looping. So I can turn that off. And then for this knob, I decided I wanted to control the tone, so I can do some simple, you know, like EQ stuff. A lot of times I like to take some of the highs off of my drums, and I you know, wanted to easily be able to do that. And then for these knobs right here, these two knobs on the end, so this is going to be my start point for my sample right here. And then on the end here is my end point. So if I just want to isolate something. Maybe reverse it, you know. And over here, some essential things. We focus on this section right here, my volume. And I like the fact that, you know, you just move to the next pad, and then this is now controlling that pad. So, and then over here, I got control of pitch. Right, and then I have pan right here on the third knob. Pretty much everything I got set up for Control Bank A in the sample section. So I'm gonna move over to Control Bank B, and then also move over to the sequence section over here, because in this section I'm controlling quite a few different things that are going on in the sequencer. So for one, I've decided to go with these buttons. I know that they're labeled like they're mute, solo, record arm buttons, but they can be used for other things as well. The actual transport I've used for another purpose, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, I got my transport right here. So I don't know if you can see it. And this is my record. These knobs on top, let's go through those. This is actually my tempo. So if I, you know, speed my tempo up here, slow it down. And then this knob I have right here, I'm turning the metronome on and off. And then if I click on this, you can see that this is controlling swing. So I have a whole knob just for swing. I have a knob for turning quantize on and off. Okay, so like I said, I've done something a little bit different with the transport buttons. I prefer my transport to be at the bottom, so I chose the bottom left buttons that we have over here. So under here, we have a button that says sync. It's kind of the rec button, but what I've done is I've set this up as a tap tempo, so I can, you know, tap my tempos out. I'll just go ahead and hit play on my pad and see if the tempo is kind of matched up there. And it's sounding pretty good. You know, just having a dedicated tap tempo button, for some reason I couldn't actually get the tap tempo button above here. I feel like this is for hardware features. And another thing, I believe it's probably for the built-in actual sequencer. There's a sequencer built into this. Let me go ahead and sequence that in real quick. Put that, just get this loop in. And say I don't like my sequence, right? I've actually put the stop button, I've programmed that to clear my sequence. So I can go ahead and delete that, just like that. And then this is actually an undo. So if I do, let me go ahead and record a whole beat, and then I'll show you the undo. So this is already terrible, right? So I got an undo button. If I double click on here, I can show you. Got my undo button set up. Just like that, I can undo steps. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn quantize on for these chops real quick. Sounds a little better. Turn quantize off and all right there. So in my sequence section for my control bank B, I've set up these faders for the mixer in Koala. So the mixer in Koala has 4 tracks plus, you know, you got the master track, but I've set up just 4. So those are gonna be my subs, and I've only got 2 so far where I got my drums and I got my samples. So my drums are right here and my samples here. So I can have my drums at one time and then so there's a lot of possibilities here. I don't think I have any of these knobs set, but then I could ideally maybe put some effects in here and have some control of the effects on the knobs. But from here, I also want to, since I'm in the perform section, I was thinking that I would exit the mixer and then MIDI map some of these master performance effects to the sliders on. So if I want to do that, I'm gonna go up here into settings and go over to MIDI and map MIDI. Now everything's ready to map. I just gotta press it. I like a compressor, so I'm gonna go ahead and map slider 1 to compressor, and then I'm gonna look for reverb. Let's do reverb on 2. And then I think there's like a lo-fi effect that I want to, maybe the dirty one. Let's go with pitch and do that and just experiment with that. Stop MIDI. So now let's go to start. So there's definitely some interesting possibilities with this. I think it's really dope. I am kind of curious what it would be like to maybe hook this up to some other hardware. It does have some hardware features. It actually has a step sequencer, which I'll show you briefly. I won't get into it because I definitely haven't mastered it, but I'll show you that it's there. All right, notice there's a little sequencer section up here. If I press step edit, then I can start pressing in some notes, hit play. And then if I want to select a different note, I can long press the step button and select a different pad. So those are some basic features of the step sequencer. All right, so the TempoPAD C16 also has a pretty cool note repeat functions. So if you press note repeat, we got note repeat for all the pads. And if you press and hold note repeat, you can adjust some of the settings like the time division. You could do swing over here. You could do gate. And then you got your tempo over here as well. But another cool thing that I've always thought would be cool on, like, say, an MPC is the ability to turn off note repeat for certain pads and then have it on for others. So say I want the note repeat on my hi-hats. I don't want it on my open hat or like on my kick and my snare. So you can actually remove certain pads from the note repeat from being affected by it by holding this right button right here on this directional pad, and then you'll see all the pads light up purple. Then I can just take these out, ones that I don't want on there, and then I'm set. So I can hold this, and then these just trigger once. So those are just a couple features of the hardware. I didn't dive too deep into it. I really am just looking at this as a centerpiece controller for Koala, which makes it super dope. Along with the Synido live dock, you got a very portable solution for making beats, which you can sample into. Yeah, so there it is, the TempoPAD C16 by Synido. It's a really dope piece. It's wireless. You know, I could pick this up if I wanted to and just go over here, kick it on the couch, and now we're back. So I'll put links in the description if you want to find out a little bit more about the live dock. Just a very portable audio interface for your mobile phone. I did a video on that a little while back, and yeah, perfect combination for this. Minimal Koala studio setup for your desk, or a portable setup, because of course you get this for free and you can put everything in this. Very usable, very efficient way to create. So yeah, I appreciate y'all kicking it with me and watching the video. If you found some value in it, please do give it a thumbs up, man. Leave a comment. And until next time, keep on running with your dreams. Y'all bless. Peace.